Very cool. Well, let's get started. I know people are going to come in. I'm going to start with your 2-day check-ins or 2-day check-ins. It's going to take each 2 days. 2-word check-in, where you're at, and we'll get started from there. And I'm just going to start at the top of my screen, which is Mr. Ted Bear. How you doing?
Feeling good. Happy that I recovered my axes.
Yay! Just happy, not ecstatic.
Pretty ecstatic.
Nice. Love it. Miss Elizabeth Johnston.
Navigating the ice and looking forward.
Nice. And Renelle.
Well, I've been focusing on getting coaching clients in order to qualify to take the national board exam for health and wellness coaches. And it looks like I'm gonna have coached enough sessions by the deadline to be able to take that exam. So I'm very happy about that.
Yay, congratulations. That's awesome. So ready and happy?
Yeah.
Nice. Love that. Miss Elizabeth Megalon Fleury.
Hi, focused and hopeful.
Nice. Miss Wendy Petties.
I am exhausted and excited.
Oh, awesome. Can't wait to find out more. Miss Carrie Vanston. You're on mute.
Busy and putting one foot in front of the other.
Nice. That's a good way to go. And Mr. Ivano, who is doing little magic tricks on us. Are you kicking around, Ivano? Speak. There you are. Peekaboo. Can you hear us? I'm guessing you can't hear us. Okay, and we have Diana and Eric. Hello. And Enrique. Anybody who wants to let us know how you doing? Hey, Eric, how you doing?
No sound.
Things are good. Thanks.
Awesome. Have you been to a Global Lounge event before?
I have not. First time.
Excellent. Well, welcome.
Thanks.
So when we start them off, we'd like to get a kind of 2-word check-in on kind of where you're at mentally, emotionally, physically, or otherwise. Just 2 distinct states, if you might.
Things are good. Moving in the right direction and looking forward to a great year. So
nice. Love that. And Miss Diana.
Slow and steady wins the race. And here on the central coast of California, abnormally cold weather at the sea in the 30s, frozen. I swim every day to start my day, but not the last 2 days. I don't go in with a wetsuit, so air temperature is way cold.
I bet.
But
we're minus
life
30.
is good in Guerrero land.
Nice. Mr. Enrique. I still can't roll my R's like you do, but that's okay.
Ready and focused.
Excellent day. And Miss Barbara, are you kicking around today? Maybe not. Oh, yep.
Hi, sorry, I'm chewing.
Hello, chewing.
So sorry, I just joined. What was the question?
Just your 2-word check-in. How you doing? Where you at?
Good. Happy. It's sunny and not minus 100 here, so we're good.
I'm starting to notice a trend that we're all a little dependent on the weather. Mr. Ivano, do you got your sound kicking in?
Yes, I'm good. I'm good now.
Awesome.
Anyway, so today I'm a little bit overwhelmed. I'm covering for an employee who's come down with COVID, and he represents 1/5 of our workforce. And of course, Marlene, the manager, is not here, so we're down the manager yet. So it's a little bit crazy to have to be at 2 other places at the same time. So anyway, so overwhelmed and energized, I guess is the word.
Nice. Well, thank you for being here. We appreciate your time and effort.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I wouldn't miss it.
Nice. So needless to say, without Jay and Krista here, we won't have a whole lot of logistics questions going on about what's coming up and all sorts of things. I will just say, though, if you are a member of the Crypto Cafe, we have Mr. Scott Klaus in the house doing our open office. So he will be available. Jay and his time zone dyslexia got it wrong. So we have bought you some time that will not be starting until 2 o'clock, I believe. Let me just triple check that. 2 o'clock Pacific. So it is actually 3 o'clock Mountain. So it will be 3 o'clock Mountain, not 1 o'clock Mountain. Just to confirm, if any of you are in the Crypto Cafe and you are needing Scott's time and ability to hold your hand. Wendy, you look like you're.
Yeah, that's what I thought I was coming in here for, because I thought that's what he said. But so I can meet him around 2 my time, 3 Pacific, you said 2 or
2 Pacific, 3 Mountain.
And where this same link?
Not this same link. It is the funky link that's in the email. So
Okay.
you'll have an email confirmation from the Crypto Cafe.
Okay.
It'll be that one.
Okay.
Because you'll be in Scott's room.
Thank you.
You're most welcome.
Is that today?
That is today. So that'll be every Thursday and Monday.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. So if that's what you are here for, you are in the wrong place because of us, not because of you. If you're in the Global Lounge and you are here to do this, then you are in the right place. And in today's Global Lounge, it's going to be a little more casual because we're going to be talking about your ladder of ascension, your marketing stack, your tech stack, answering any questions I might be able to answer. Obviously, I can't answer any specific questions about your particular software that you use because I don't use software. I use tech department, but I can certainly help you with strategy and still help you with the mindset, figuring out what your plans are and where you want to get to. Sound good? So if we're all in the same place and we're all here working on this, I'm just going to start off with any questions, concerns you have that might be pressing, that you need an answer to right away, that might help you to move forward on something, because that might be the best use of your time. So feel free to unmute yourself if you have a pressing question about your marketing, your tech, your products and services that you're offering in that ladder of ascension.
Tech trouble.
Yep. What do you got going on, Diana? Hackers. Oh, fun.
I moved. My last host was a nightmare. So I moved to a virtual private server and just set up 2 of my blogs that I'm going to be using moving forward. I'm right in the middle of, I'm willing and eager and moving forward, right? So what I did was I have Loganizer because I'm using WordPress and another Captcha, and I did these really complex usernames and passcodes. I masked the admin, and then I'm setting up a contributor that I'm going to be using to post, and then just approving from the admin side. Anything else? Any other ideas you might have?
Yep. So in my limited experience of tech and software, which I say limited because if you've ever met Brad, I'm here and he's like off the screen, but compared to some people, I'm off the screen. So hopefully I might be able to help you with something. So what we have found is usually when hackers come in, they come in with an add-on that is out of date from its updates. So super important on WordPress sites is to make sure that all of your add-ons are up to date. If you don't have somebody looking after that, I would highly recommend that you put in a little reminder for yourself just on the first of the month or whatever to go and update your add-ons. And if you're not regularly going into your website, to just go and again, put a little meeting in your day timer on every other Monday or whatever to just go and look at your website and make sure that it's up and running. So fun things happen there. Some of your add-ons can be set to automatically do their updates, which can work fine. If you do that though, be very, very careful to set your updates to your website like every week, because what can happen is if somebody updates their add-on, it can quote unquote crash your site. Just meaning that all of a sudden things that used to look like images now look like blurs, things that used to look like text now look like hieroglyphics, all
Right.
that kind of fun jazz. The other issue that I have heard about people having is the whole getting into ports and firewalls and access and all of that kind of fun jazz. If you want specifics on that, that would be a conversation you want to have with Brad. Do you have somebody monitoring that server?
Yes, and they're brand new installs, so it's not a hack. It's everything's up to date. There's no plugins other than the protective ones that are activated. And yeah, everything's updated. They just I don't know why. I'm guessing it's the old. I had a lot of problems with the old hosts. I mean, they were part of some contest and it was ugly. So I have different accounts where everything's going, so they're not all on the same cPanel and that kind of stuff. I'm a techie, like old school. I've been online since 95 and had to take over a lot of stuff. So just wondering if there was any new, I don't even know how I hit the radar that fast. Like I just put the site up. It's not even touched. So I went in and just did super weird usernames and passcodes, and then it put a nickname that had nothing to do with the username, and I hope that works. But
that sounds like a port issue to me, but what I would highly recommend you do is just go and book a time with Brad and pick his brain.
Okay.
And I'll just put his link in the chat because I'm sure
I'll check with my tech guys too and see.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that reminds me, I need to check the setting. Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Sorry, I can't help
It
you
slows
more.
me down.
Mr. Jazz.
Can I follow up on that, Michelle?
Of course.
How important is it to have WordPress at the most recent version?
Quite, depending on what they've got going on and depending on what they update. Sometimes it's nothing and it's just a back end stuff that nobody sees and nobody hears, but sometimes it's a big one. But when they do update, just make sure that you test your site and make sure that everything's working the way it was. Especially the big updates, they'll usually tell you, like it'll say, here's your update and here's what we fixed. And if it's minor bugs and stuff like that, it's not that big of a deal. If it's a major accessibility update, then that can be huge. And there's a few other things that can be pretty important.
Okay, thank you.
No, you betcha. Miss Barbara.
Okay, so question for you. Chicken and the egg question.
Okay.
As far as product ascension.
Yes.
So I get stuck on the hamster wheel in my own brain.
Mm-hmm.
Is it better to start with a high-end offer and then backwards engineer it down to your freebie, to your low-end offer, and then kind of go up the product ladder? Or is it better to start with a low-end offer and then go up the ladder and say, and here's my, my big offer?
Great question. Jay may disagree with me at times. Sometimes we do that. But my advice to people is it depends on how much money you need. So it is much easier. It is much easier to go to your friends and go, hey, I have this 1-year product. It's, $10,000. I'll coach you for the year. Are you interested? And if you know that there are people in your repertoire that you could go to and ask them that, and they would say, yes, they want you, then go and do that, sign them up and get the money. That is often the fastest way to be able to get some one-on-one coaching with people is to offer, make sure it's a high enough end offer that it gives you some cash flow, because that cash flow becomes paramount. But you will get to a certain precipice in your business whereby you start to look at it and go, okay, I need to automate some stuff. I need to get out there. I need to have something that I can offer this fabulous JV community so that they can start sending me people and I don't have to be in that income, I'm looking for clients kind of thing. I have clients, I have too many clients to market to, and then all of a sudden your revenue goes down. So you end up in that roller coaster. But if you need money now, that tends to be the fastest, easiest way to get it. Then what I recommend that you do is you have an offer that you can offer people. Depending on your background, depending on your business model, there's a myriad of different things that you're going to have in there. But you want to have something, I'm going to say in like the $500 range, like $497 or $997, that you can put out to a JV group of people. And then you want to backtrack that and have an opt-in for it. And sometimes it can be as easy as just putting a checklist together for a course. So I'm offering a course for $997. This course has 10 modules in it. And my checklist looks like, hey, in order to do this thing, you're going to have these 10 things in place. And the number one is this. And you can get that by signing up for my course. So if you do the kind of plan out the course first, and then you create your opt-in from that, then you automatically have something that you can JV and partner with people. And if you're not used to selling a $1,000 item, you'll want to put something ahead of it, like a webinar or a 5-day challenge. Webinars are the easiest, in my opinion, because it's only an hour of my time and I can knock one out of the park pretty easily. Some people prefer 5-day challenges because those are only 10-minute videos and they're much more simple. But to me, the science of a 5-day challenge is a little more involved. Mentally, I can just rattle off a webinar. So that's just me. And that's how I would do it. Does that make sense?
Yes. So to summarize, what I'm hearing you say is, if you want cash flow, best thing to do is to start with a higher end offer, like we'll call it $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 offer. If you feel in your community that you have people that would be open to that. So that will put some cash flow going. Then I'm hearing you say, okay, now you want something kind of mid-range. So maybe like 500 to 2,000-ish. And you want to do something prior to it for marketing. So your preference is a webinar. I totally agree with you 100% on the webinar. For me, that's the easy thing. Okay, so right down at the bottom, the squeaky little bottom that people keep saying, you got to have all these freebies and opt-ins and whatever, and your head wants to explode with the freebies. My head wants to explode with the freebies.
You need one freebie. So you don't need freebies. You need one freebie, and it has to talk to your niche market. So here's my other caveat, and some people will argue this, but, and I'm open to those conversations. For the most part, for most people that I talk to, you need one opt-in that talks to your ideal audience that you can get to the quickest. It's your low-lying fruit, people that you already know, love you, trust you, want to do business with you, appreciate what you do, and you love working with them. So for example, somebody comes in, they say, I'm a coach, I'm a business coach. I can work with anybody that's in business. One, I get that, I know that, but that's not digital marketing. When I go into a website and I want a black Lincoln, I had damn well better find a black Lincoln on that landing page or I'm going to opt out. I get it. If somebody's a dealer, they'll have tons of cars. They may even have Honda Civics. They might have green ones. They might have a ton of them. But if I go onto an online page and I see a green Honda Civic before I see the black Lincoln, I'm off that page and I'm typing in black Lincoln. Same exact thing happens, especially with coaches right now. And if you kind of want to wrap your head around why products evolve, think about when people started to get a car. Could they get a green Honda Civic? No. You can get a car in any color you want as long as it's black. Everybody knows this. Right?
Black, white, or silver.
Black, or black, and then there was white or silver, and then it evolves from there. And now you can get a black stretch, you can get a black short, you can get a black tall, you can get a black with a stereo system in it, you can get whatever you want, right? Now I have to niche down. And in fact, now when I go to buy a car, I probably have to niche down about 3 or 4. So do you want a black Lincoln with an entertainment unit? Do you want it with a sky roof? Do you want it with the super hot wheels on it, right? So we got to go down. So the same thing happens for a business coach. I'm not just a business coach anymore. I'm an executive coach. I'm an executive coach that strategizes and helps with mindset. Now I'm niching down. And my particular one, I know that I work best with guys. I can work with women, but I work best with guys. So all of my lingo in my landing page is going to be about getting to the point, strategizing, focusing. My lingo is going to be very masculine. My artwork is going to be very masculine because that's my hot spot. That's my niche. That's the little sweet spot on my driving range that goes bing, you know, you've hit it. After that, then you can start to make other opt-ins and do other things. Right now, all I want is one opt-in that appeals to that person, and that person goes, she gets me, and I want that thing. And if all I do is get 3 people out of 100 million of them, I'm awesome, right? Because I can charge that one person 50 grand, 100 grand, if it's that sweet of an offer. Does that make sense?
100%. Thank you. One final question, if you don't mind.
Yep.
So now we've got the freebie, and the next level up is like 500 to 2,000. What about
whatever
that?
you're going?
Yeah. What about that middle range? Is it just like, just get rid of that and just go up from there?
So when I do a ladder of ascension with somebody, I want the quickest, fastest, easiest way to cash so that they can fund their hobbies. So if my sweet spot, I know I can work with guys, I know I can work with executives, I know that I can ultimately get a $50,000 sale out of them. And I know that they're not going to dick around with a 500. And sorry, my language gets carried away. Put me on mute if you have kids. So they just want to get right to the point. So I'm not going to offer them a $500 thing after my webinar. I'm going to offer them a $2,000 thing. It's $19.97. Take action now. All I want are action takers. This is going to be gone after I get off the call. So if you have any questions, ask them now. Otherwise, you should be hitting the button while we're talking. That's my close. That's not necessarily your close. You have to figure out what yours is. Some people are a little more soft-spoken. They just like, you know, I just want you to dip your foot in, and it's only going to be, you know, $197 right now for this thing. Awesome. As long as that's your thing and you're attracting those people and you know that they're going to come to you, fantastic. Reiterate your question because I think I forgot it. I lost it when I started swearing. No, I lost it when I apologized for swearing.
Thank you so much, Michelle. That was so helpful. I'm very appreciative.
We're still on track. So what was your question? Just because I forgot it.
What was my question?
The second one. Yeah, just the one I just answered.
The question was, you know, that spot between free and about 500 to 1,000 or whatever. Do you even bother with that, or you just say, you know?
Awesome. So the reason I'm going from the webinar to that, in my case, the $2,000 program, somebody else might do the $197 thing. Mine is to get them, to give them a sample taste of my high-end product, right? So I'm not going to go from a webinar to a $50,000 a year offer. I'm going to go from a webinar to a $2,000 product that I know they're going to be interested in. And in that $2,000 offering, in the fulfillment of it, I'm going to be upselling, I'm going to be peppering, and I'm going to be selling my $50,000 program. So the thing to me is you will always have a free item kind of thing, your checklist, your whatever. Think of it as a beach ball and it's deflated. Your one-on-one time is always on top. And as you populate that beach ball with your products and services, your freebie is always free and your one-on-one time is always most expensive. So that can help you to figure out how you're going to create a more robust product service. But at first, when you're first doing this, you want something to intrigue people and say, hey, come check out my thing. It's my free checklist. And then I'm going to take you to a webinar. I'm going to sell you my mid-range product. I only have one at this point. And from there, I'm going to sell you my one-on-one high-end offer. Once you start to get testimonials, once you start to get other things, you start to realize, hey, I really hate delivering this thing. I really want to deliver something else. Then you can massage it, then you can move it, then you can change it. But until this becomes a well-oiled machine, then refine it, make it better, make it more predictable. And then you can start going, as soon as this one runs like well-oiled machine, then I can start catering to women if that's where I want to go, or some other opt-in. That makes sense?
That was beautiful. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you for asking, because I think it's important to understand for everybody that most entrepreneurs have fantastic ADD. I'm just gonna go in. Y'all got ADD and you're all spreading your time all over the place because you love doing this, that, and the other thing. And you love smelling the flowers and you like writing blogs and you like talking to your friends and you like doing this thing. So you decide that you need 28 opt-ins and you need to go and do some Facebook posts, and none of that's true. This ultimately is business. And what you really need to find out is who loves what you do, who values what you do enough to pay for it, and who do you love to work with? And once you find that little sweet spot in that Venn diagram of those three things, work with them first. Because they will be easiest to find. You will love talking to them. Your energy level will go up when you're talking to them. When they ask questions, you're like, oh my God, yes, that's the perfect question to ask. You get all excited about it. It's easy to sell in that sweet spot. And then you can go and build gardens and roses and blogs and flowers and all that kind of stuff, right? Because now you've basically financed your hobbies.
Can you say that again, Michelle? Who loves you? Who?
People who love you.
Okay.
They love working with you. They value what you do to the point that they can pay for it. So to me, money is just value, right? If somebody says my thing is $10,000, I assess in my own little brain what I think $10,000 is worth in value. And I go, do I value this thing as much as I value that thing? And if my answer is yes, then I give you 10 grand. If my answer is no, I go, that's not enough. I want more. I go and find somebody that's charging 20 grand for the exact same thing. If I go, nope, that's too much, then I go and look for somebody that's selling your thing for $1,000 or whatever I think that value is. So you want them to value the product and service that you're giving to the point that they will pay for it. Does that make sense? So let me backtrack and give you an example. I used to work with a partner in my therapy clinic, success therapy. And when I first started working with her, she charged $600 a session. I charged $175 a session. I valued my session at $175. She valued hers at $600. We had very different clients because they valued different things. She was working on business issues and with business people. I tended to work with almost anybody off the street. I learned really quickly that there are certain aspects to those people that I don't like working with. And I really liked running into her clientele in the foyer, in the lobby. And it's like, okay, so if I want to work with these people, I have to up my product because they value that product at a higher price. So even though we're kind of sort of doing the same thing, the clientele that I wanted to work with wanted to pay a certain price for that thing. Does that make sense? It's like you can give me a brand new Lincoln. If you offered me a brand new Lincoln and said it's $400, I'd say, what's wrong with it? Because I don't really want to buy a headache. I want to buy a car that I know I'm never going to have to take to the shop. People pick it up, they take it away, they go and do the maintenance on it and they bring it back to me and it's shiny and clean. That's what I want and that's what I want to pay for. So if somebody offers me something that's less than that, I want to know why. And I'm skeptical of it, I'm leery of it, I'm thinking it's not going to be the thing I want. If they, on the other hand, offered me one for $150,000, I'm like, are you on crack? I know a Lincoln's not worth that much. I know Porsche is worth that much. I know a Lamborghini is worth that much, but I know a Lincoln's not worth that much in my mind. Now, if Lincoln came out with one and said, hey, it's 150 grand, I would lean in and go, whoo, what does it do? Does that make sense?
So you wouldn't necessarily change your product at all. You change the people that you're selling the product to.
Absolutely. Unless the people that love working with me and the people I love working with and the price point that they're paying. So if somebody said to me, well, this is great, but I really want more of your time. So what they're saying is, this is your beach ball, and I really want a product that's inside of here that doesn't exist yet. So if that means, okay, I have this product that's $2,000, and then they say, I want more of your time, how do I get it? And I say, oh, well, I could do a group coaching program. I could have a mastermind. I could have something where I can charge, say, 10 grand. But then that means that my one-on-one time goes up, right? So now I have a 10 grand mastermind program. My one-on-one time just went up. So if somebody says, I really want your one-on-one time, that's great, but that's $50,000. If I'm already offering a mastermind at $50,000, then my one-on-one time becomes $100,000. So if they're asking for it, I get to decide whether or not I want to create it. So if I decide I want a laptop lifestyle and I only want to work 7 months of the year, and I say, sure, yeah, I'll work with you for the year, but we're only meeting 7 times a year. No, we're not. We're only going to meet once a quarter, and we're going to meet for an hour. And I want you to have all of these things ready for me. And they say yes. We go, great, we've got a deal. But that's up to me, not up to them, right? They can give me their input, but I have final veto power on whether or not I'm producing a product for them or not, or giving them my one-on-one time.
Do you think that $2,000 is, I mean, because I've got a program that I've been giving offline one-on-one for a long time now. It's either 3 or 5 months. And I want to get it online. But I don't really want to do a module, 5 module, and take the program and put it online. But if I put the whole program online, I would be perfectly willing to sell it for $19.97 and then raise my one-on-one sum, at least start. Is there any real reason that I need to do the $1,000 5 modules and not just jump straight up to the 10 session $2,000 program that I'm already doing?
There's no reason at all why you can't do whatever you want, other than the thing that will change is how you market it. So up until now, you've probably been selling it as, hey, this program is really valuable because it has a lot of my one-on-one time in it. And you're going to have to rephrase that to say, hey, this program has a lot of value in it because of what you're going to do with your life once you've gone through it.
So it being that I've never sold in that way, maybe it's better for me to do like $1,000 with a $500 beta or something, rather than up to the 2,000.
You've already got the content. So, and you're in the right community to figure out, to work with people to figure out what that wordsmithing is. Like the wordsmithing and the changing of your marketing or your landing page is fairly easy. If you've already got that product, you've already got the videos, and you can put, like I said, a webinar in front of that to say, hey, here's my $2,000 program. It's all online. You get instant access to it. Here's what you're going to create in your life because of this. It's fantastic. I would do that all day long and just change that into a $2,000 program, making sure that in that program, you are peppering your one-on-one program. And then at the end of it, it's like, hey, hope you enjoyed this immensely. And, if you're looking to take the next step, come and join me at blah. Here's the link. You can sign up now. And then you go into that whole sales process. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So yeah, just take what you have, make it a video only program.
It would be a one-on-one. I mean, it would be a group where I would meet with them regularly.
So right now you're doing it one-on-one and you're going to change it into a group?
Yes, online. I thought I would change it into a group.
Yep. And then just make sure that your one-on-one time goes up.
Which I'd love.
Awesome. Good questions. And is this making sense for all of you guys as to how you can apply that into your product line and services? Okay, good. Because it's not really rocket science when we're setting up our online services. So we could do the exact same thing with a plumber, with an electrician, with whatever, is to be able to take that little body of knowledge and be able to put out something that's intriguing to them and then bring them in and then set it up. So Ivano kind of cocked his head like a dog listening all of a sudden. So I'm going to go there. So with Ivano, what I might do with the flooring company is entice people with hardwood. Hardwood to me is fascinating because it is durable. You have tons of different trees. You have some that are environmentally friendly and recyclable, some of them that aren't. You can totally play off of that and say things like teak once upon a time, although super viable. Now you can get it in certain areas, but it's more suitable to things like furniture or whatever. Whereas a Brazilian hardwood, now this is fascinating because it not only, you know, takes the highlights out of the sun and then the shadows, you actually have like a living organism in your house because it changes colors and styles and it changes look and feel and aesthetics of a room. Fascinating. If you're interested in this, let's take a look at what that might look like in your house. So for only, you know, $197, you can take your photographs of your house, put them into this software. We'll show you what it looks like with the different hardwood floors so that you can see that and you can kind of get an idea of it, what it's going to look like before you invest in a hardwood floor. By the way, for your size of house that you've just downloaded into this, your average floor is going to cost, I don't know, $2,000, whatever it is, plus installation, yada, blah, blah. Oh, and this one's going to cost this. So you're constantly, as you're showing them the different hardwood in their pictures, you're upselling them to actually install hardwood in their houses, which of course they were interested in the first place, and that's why they came to your site. Now, if they actually wanted to have a consultation with somebody before they go in and like an interior designer and say, what would this really look like? What could we really do? Then he partners with an interior designer. They do all the work. He gets an affiliate for it and they get the installation in the hardwood. Does that make sense? So you still basically have a freebie. You have an intermediate product going into your high-end product. And you keep doing that all day until you get that fine-tuned. And then you start building up more and more. Because as you guys have noticed, so say when you sign up for JVology Live, you might have got an email from a friend going, hey, I'm going to this course. I don't really know what it is, but I want somebody to come with me. Will you come with me? I'll pay your ticket. And you go, yeah, sure. Okay, click on the link and boom, you're in JVology Live and you have no idea why. Or you saw a Facebook ad that had a link on it that went to a checklist, that went to a book, that went to a thing, that went to a thing. And you actually went through the entire ladder of ascension that could have taken months in order to get into JVology Live or anywhere in between there. But initially it was, hey, do you want to come to this course? It's awesome, because the course didn't really exist. So it was everybody that was at Summit telling people, hey, you really want to come to this course? And that's how it started. Make sense? Cool. Elizabeth Megalon Fleury.
Hello. Okay. So I went through James's superpowered business. So I'm sure you have a background with that or whatever.
Yep.
So I did my social runway. I did my video to launch my course. I've done some follow-up. I'm getting the follow-up is kind of like following up and following up and following up, which we got to do. But also, you know, I'm having people go, well, you know, I'd really like to rather just give me a day and let's just bang it out. So more like a one-on-one. And prior to this, that's all I've ever done is doing one-on-one. And I really like that. But I've been playing around with doing this course for over a year now. So, you know, and I put it out there. So I'm just not sure where to take it to try to massage it to make it go or bail and do the next thing.
So your issue actually comes back to what I was talking about earlier with, I believe it was Carrie, in that your language and your lingo is still from your age gone by, which works great when you're upselling into your one-on-one. And it's great that you now have this middle product because your one-on-one time should be more valuable so that you become less resentful for it and you have less people vying for it, right? So it becomes easier to deliver on that one-on-one time. However, what I'm hearing is the marketing for that and or the peppering of the next step up is still all about your one-on-one time. So depending on, and of course, I haven't heard your offer and I haven't heard anything, keep that in mind, but because you probably have a propensity to selling the one-on-one time, it becomes just part of the things that you say because you've always said, or you've been saying them for a long time, right? And it can sound something like, oh yeah, and when my clients work one-on-one with me, they get blah, 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 or we did this, or something like that. That's what I mean by peppering in your conversation. And what it does for them is they're like, oh, this is easier if I work one-on-one. And that's not really the mental image that you want them to have. You want them to have, hey, get this course and you can go step by step through the program and it's really easy. In fact, that's the easiest way to do it because you can just stop the video, go and do the thing I told you to do, come back and hit video again, and you're off. Whereas when you work with me one-on-one, we are going to be hard case throwing stuff at you. You have to write notes. You have to make sure that you have all of these things. And now this sounds really hard.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Because I know the biggest problem why the people aren't doing it and want the one-on-one is they need that nudge, right? They need somebody pushing them constantly. And they already know that they're procrastinating on this subject. So just another course is like, oh, but I've been talking about community and this way we can support each other and all of that. But okay.
So one of the things that you might want to do, unless it's a course on procrastination, that has a whole other issue unto itself, is to incorporate some sort of either a calendar in the course. So here, download the calendar, put in your times. This has to get done by this, that's this, and what your schedule is going to be. And this is how you hold yourself accountable. Or, hey, we have this community, go into the Facebook group. There's a post there where we sign you up with an accountability partner.
Oh, okay.
Or, whatever the case is, like either you teach me how to be accountable myself, you help me to be accountable with somebody that I choose, you assign me somebody to be accountable with, or I pay you one-on-one for you to just go, hey, did you do it? And then you pay me for that, right? And there's some people that have accountability programs that there's a call Monday at 9:00. You phone in, you tell me you've done it. If you haven't phoned, I assume that after 3 times you're out of the program. I don't want to hear the song and dance. I don't care why you didn't do it. On Monday at 9:00, you tell me what you've got done, and then you hang up and you go and get your work done again. But that all comes down to personality and how you want to frame that, right? If you're doing trauma therapy, you're probably not going to use that kind of accountability.
Cool. All right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Miss Sola, you're looking gorgeous.
Thank you. I've been going back and forth with why is my hand disappearing? Because I was doing the clap instead of raising. So. Okay, thank you. Yeah, give me some feedback about this. I have a Women's Work and Wisdom Circle, which is a 4-month mastermind. The idea that I have is that this is for early phase entrepreneurs who really value the work accountability element, but also I'm working with focus and flow for significant results. So having a strategic vision, action plan, mastering how we can use natural systems to be in focus and stay in flow or access that. Okay, I'm telling you too much.
That's good.
The pricing being my idea of it is their early phase, probably $2,000 for 4 months, but offering it as a beta without calling it a beta, possibly for $1,100. Give me your thoughts.
Why $1,100?
I actually did some math to get to where I would like to be. Like I would like to be running 3 of these, and that would work for me. It would meet a bottom line. It would be a really nice systematic approach that I would like. So
okay,
that's a long term. It's not going to happen immediately, right? I mean,
good.
It might.
So my question is that because, and if it is for profitability and you wouldn't be profitable at $997, then totally cool. Most people will think $997 is an easy $1,000 to drop. 1,100, now I got to think about it. And maybe I have an agreement with my spouse that I get to spend $1,000 without consulting with them, but anything above that, then I got to go and talk to them. And if I'm going to go and talk to them about a $100 upgrade, I may as well have a $900. So it's as easy for me to have that conversation with him over $1,997 as it is for $1,100.
So this is a mastermind, basically. I'm calling it a working wisdom circle. So I don't really want to be perceived as, this is really cheap. But there is the reality that
it's not really cheap. It's on sale right now. Nobody dislikes a sale. Even husbands like a sale when it's appropriate, right? So it's not about being cheap. It's about the easiest way for people to give you money. And it's easy for me to give you $997. It's more difficult for me to give you $1,100, which sounds really silly because it's only $200 more. Not even. Is that right? No. Okay. $997 to it. It's $100 more. Okay. $100 more. And it seems awkward.
Okay. So 1,100 seems awkward. Okay. So what about just going directly to the 1997? It's 4 months.
Why not? I would. The only reason most people do a beta is because they can't fill a full class, right? Most people will come into their head and they'll go, okay, if I could ideally fill this room and if I could ideally have it set, I think I could get $2,000 for this. But I don't have anybody there and I don't have anybody that's interested and I'm terrified of talking to people about this. So if I drop that in half, well, okay, now that conversation is more comfortable for me. That's usually how the pricing thing goes down. And that's why they want to get, 6 or 10 people in that beta. So then they get the testimonials and then they get the feedback and then they can massage the course and make sure that it fits right and everything. So that in my mind, I can then justify charging $2,000 for it. But if that's not where your brain is at.
Yeah, I don't need to justify it. I don't really think of it as a beta exactly. The problem is offering group courses. I've done a lot of masterminds and run them really cheap or free. And then I've also had the challenge of how do you start with groups? Because I love working with groups. And yet one-on-one is obviously easier to sell and I can do that.
Okay, hold on. So one-on-one is easier to sell. How much have you sold your one-on-one time for before?
175, but I don't do it as an hourly thing, but that's my rate. So I'll do like a 3-month package and people renew.
So what's the total for the package?
500 a month.
But it's a 5-month program.
No, this program's different. So it is kind of a beta.
So up until now, you've only sold your one-on-one time for 1 month at a time?
No, 3-month package.
Okay, so how much was your 3 months?
So like 500 a month for a 3 months package.
Which is?
500. So that's 1,500 for a 3-month. You're pushing me.
I am. Can you feel it?
It's good.
Good. It's about to get uncomfortable. Are you okay with that?
Okay. Please.
I'll be as nice as I can. And
just be effective.
I'm pretty.
You're good.
Sometimes. It's not about how much you're charging. It's about how much you're comfortable charging right now. Mm-hmm. You clearly have an issue with the total amount.
Yeah. Part of that being that I have a groundwork of having launched ineffectively and foolishly enough times to, there's a trigger there.
One, congratulations. That's awesome. Because failing is fantastic. And it's fantastic because you learn so much more from those efforts of movement that don't happen the way you expect them to than you could ever possibly learn from putting effort into something and having it go exactly the way you want it to. We don't learn things from having things go exactly the way we want it to. We have fun, we gain a little bit of confidence, but we don't learn anything from them. Mm-hmm. Right? Think of a scientist in a lab and they're mixing chemicals and it works, right? And they're like, yay, that worked. Did it really? Was it an accident? Was there a fly in it? Was there pepper in it? We don't know why it worked. So then they turn around and they break it so that it doesn't work, so that they know why it didn't work. And why it didn't work is more valuable than having it work.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Certainly, lots of learning.
congratulations, that is fantastic. It is quite possible that the reason that it failed in the past was because you had broken up the thing and people just want to know what's the package. Right? Think about your phone bill. When you get your phone bill, do you want to know that it's going to be $5 plus $5 plus $5? And then if you want voicemail on top of that, it's another $5. You don't want to know that. I want to know it's $30 for the phone, including everything, or whatever the case might be.
I
right?
had multiple breaking places. I mean, just many things that were not lined up for a successful launch.
Awesome.
For a group program, I know. So yes, I should brainstorm my full list and see how many pages it is.
So take all of those learning lessons, put them all together in an ideal new scenario, right? I learned that didn't work, so I'm going to do this.
Check.
I learned that didn't work, so I'm going to do this. And then we put it together into a new package thing. And then with that new package thing, I know that best practices are I should charge $497 or $997 or $1997 because people are used to paying that online and they have a propensity to just pull out the credit card and pay for those things if the marketing is set right.
Well, I'm liking 1997. And it's also makes more sense for a JV.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Bam. Right. And then, keep working with your coaches and keep working with them to make sure that the marketing lingo is right and that you're getting there. But that is a nice fit. If it's for you, if it's for your JV partners, if it's for your clients online.
Great. Thank you, Michelle.
My pleasure. Thank you for playing with me. I appreciate it.
Zola, I've had a hard time with this. And just FYI, I've done one for 3 months that I just ended for $645 or $295 a month. This time I'm doing a quasi beta. I'm charging $997 or $397 a month. And then in 3 months, I'm hoping to raise it a little bit more. But I'm like right where you are, where it's very scary because I'm afraid they're going to say no. And so I totally, I'm there with you, Zola.
Nice.
All right.
And
Good
so
to know, Carrie.
for
you.
your lingo, make sure that the package is the package and has the price. If you need payment plans, we have those and you can go and check those out on the site. As soon as you start throwing numbers at people, we start going into grade 4 high math trauma. And it's like, oh, numbers. Oh, can't count.
Good
That
point.
makes sense.
1997, 997,
Simple.
period, end of story, carry the conversation over. Create visuals for your participants because I'm going to guarantee most of you aren't dealing with mathematicians. So don't throw numbers at them. If they want the numbers, they can go to landing page. They can go figure it out for themselves. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Awesome. So don't ever talk to me about monthly pricing ever again. Go to landing page, check it out. You can see what we got over there. If you need something else, talk to our team. We'll help you work it out. Those are the exceptions, not the standards.
Okay. Excellent. Thanks.
Cool. You guys rock. Miss Barbara.
So I just want to piggyback on what you were saying about if the marketing is right.
Mhm.
So I'm a big believer of what color is the bow you're putting on the package.
Mhm.
Meaning, you can have the most amazing product and how you package it, the words you use, the color of the bow, the graphic may make the difference between $1,000, a difference in pricing, or 10,000 or what have you. So I'm just curious, your thoughts on how to put the right color bow on something when you're trying to, when you want to sell a higher end product.
It all depends on your audience. So weird. So weird. So I do know a coach that advocates just do whatever feels good for you and then people will come. You could do it that way. I'm not a proponent of that. I say talk to your clients. So I'll give you another example. Once upon a time when I did raise my fees, when I was working with my partner, we both went up to $600 an hour. We decided to get fancy glossy brochures and put them out in the lobby. And not one person touched our fancy glossy paper brochures. We went back to hand scribbled, photocopied pieces of crap that looked like they were from a 1950s fax machine. And they were all picked up within seconds and the phone was ringing up the hook. Because in that space, people thought that if it was too glossy, it was going to be too expensive and they didn't want to know about it. Ironically, $600 a session wasn't too high for them. So there was this disjunct in their brain when they walked into the lobby, even though they were willing to pay $600, which we both perceived was quote unquote a lot. But they weren't willing to go and pick up the brochure to find out. But the brochure was more approachable when it was just that photocopied fax machined piece of paper. So part of that kind of learning lesson is test. 2, don't ask your friends and family what they think of them because their opinion is irrelevant if they're not paying you. 2, put it out there, or 3, put it out there to your ideal audience and see which one they bite on. So if you're totally not sure, you could do, like, what are you debating about right now? What's your deliberation?
Right now, actually, Lorraine and I are working on a higher end product.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we're going back and forth around, you know, do we do a mid-range product first? And, you know, the higher end clients don't want the lower end stuff. So why are we even bothering? We want to go straight to, here's a sale. Yeah, here's a landing page. Let's have a phone call and close them from the call and be done.
Nice. So 2 things, I would do 2 landing pages if you haven't sold this before. One of them is one that you like. That's just like, I think this is the way we should do this. This is perfect. And let's send this out to our people. The other one is an exclusive invitation that has a lot of either black, gold, or silver, whichever your preference is around your branding, kind of sort of doesn't matter. I'm assuming you want guys.
Actually, we do relationship stuff and it's about maybe 55% women and 45% men.
Okay, so it's a couples thing.
No, it's individuals.
It's individuals, but you got 50-50 max and you're good either way. I would stay away from pinks, although it probably doesn't matter. I would tend to go with a red, but minimally. So do like a black and a silver with a touch of red or something like that. Make it very exclusive. This is an exclusive offer. Our clients have this, that, and the other thing, and just have that lingo as very posh. So if you don't know what that lingo looks like, go and search Rolex websites.
That's what we were doing. We were on all the very, very high.
They pay a lot of money for their copywriters to buy very exclusive things. Now, keep in mind, they also have high-end salespeople, which is probably where Rolex gets more of their client or more of their sales from, is in-house in Vegas and wherever. But it doesn't negate the fact that the lingo that they use on those web pages is going to be more of your clientele's voice. And as soon as you go to a Rolex site, a BMW site, a whatever site, you start to see the patterns evolving and you want to use that kind of a lingo. But again, the problem with going there is that it's, you want to make sure that they appreciate you and the services that you are offering. So it still needs to have your voice in there so that they can hear it and it resonates with them. Does that make sense? Because like if you, for example, take this room right here in this Zoom room as an example, my lingo is going to appeal to some people and they're going, yeah, she's only on it. She's knocking this out of the park. And some of you are going, oh my God, I would never work with her if my life depended on it. She terrifies the hell out of me. And I'm kind of okay with either one, but I have to be okay with either one because I have to get my voice into my marketing so that they hear me and that they're attracted to that. Does that make sense? So I can't come in here and talk like Jay, even though y'all know I can talk like Jay if I wanted to, because then you're going to be attracted to Jay, not me. Right? So you can write your landing page like BMW or Rolex, but once they get to meet you, you don't want them to be disjunct. You want them to see your landing page, go to you, watch the video and go, oh my God, she's our gal. Right? So there's got to be that continuity, which is why I would test the 2 pages. So if you just happen to like purple and pink and writing in a certain way, do it up and then just test it. Send half your people there and half your people there and see which one works.
If you're dealing with a very high exclusive, higher end clientele, freebies, webinars, all that stuff, in my opinion, they're not really interested in. Is that correct?
I don't know a woman in her right mind that wouldn't take a free tube of lipstick. So it's not, hey, get our freebies here. If you want some freebies, go to this and click here. That's not how you're delivering it. So your vocabulary is different, right? If you've ever gone into a Sephora, you get samples, right? You can go into a high-end makeup place. They'll still give you samples. They'll still let you test the perfume. They'll still let you, but they show you how to experience the perfume. It's like, oh, have you ever had a test of which perfumes smell best for your skin? Well, no, I haven't. Well, if you'd like to come over here, I can show you 3 samples, one of which you're not really going to like, one of which is going to be a little too strong for you. But the third one, you're going to notice that that is your signature scent. Would you like to experience that? Well, yes, I would. You trot over to the little box, you get the 3 samples. One stinks like shit. The other one's too powerful. And the other one, you're like, oh my God, this is fantastic. Hey, honey, come over here. How does it smell? And all of a sudden you have a new perfume that you are going to spend tons of money on for the rest of your life, because that is your signature scent. And they just made $300 off of you and a lifetime client. It's not that people don't like the freebies or the webinars. It's what are they getting out of it? So they want to have a quality experience. They want to get quality information out of it. And it has to lead them to another thing, right? If somebody says, hey, would you like to experience this thing? And they're like, no, I'm allergic to perfume. It's like, oh, come on. You really want it. You really want it. No, I don't. Do not make me do that. That's a terrible idea. Awesome. You're allergic to it. Great. What brings you in today? Clearly, if you're allergic to perfume, what the hell are you doing in our store, right? But you're not going to say it that way. Well, I'm looking for a gift for my friend. Wonderful. We have a perfume experience room over here. Would you like to go to the other side of the building so that it might not be as irritating for you? Yes, I would love that. That's free information that benefits me and takes me to an experience that I want to have, even though it's 180 degrees from what you would normally do with your clients. Does that make sense?
That was beautiful.
Awesome. So yes, they want freebies, but they want something that's going to give them a little sample of experiencing you in whatever flavor that might be, that leads them to something that they're going to be asking. So say, I don't know what your prices or anything are. Say your exclusive offer is a $10,000, VIP day with you. Awesome. Am I going to invest $10,000 and, more importantly, 8 hours of my day with somebody I don't know? Probably not. My 8 hours is like, I've burned 10 grand on stupid shit before, but I'm not going to burn 8 hours of my day. Right? So what am I going to need between that initial experience of you and spending $10,000 for the day with you in order to transition that? What's that step for me? And it might be a video, right? I might be willing to watch that video 10 o'clock on a Friday night because I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm such a loser. I can't believe I don't have a freaking date, but I got to get this presentation done for tomorrow. Oh, I'll just play their video in the background while I'm doing this. And then you're talking and you're doing your evergreen presentation and you're hitting all the right notes of this is my pain point, this is my pain point, this is my pain point. And before I know it, I'm not paying attention to my presentation anymore. Now I'm paying attention to you and going, oh my God, she gets me. Make sense? And your colors, your look, your feel, all just kind of pull me into that experience with you. So it might be blacks and whites, but maybe you want it to be all white with you wearing white so that you're neutral and they're having an experience. And maybe it's a spiritual experience, right? It's whatever visual you want them to come up with. And I don't know what that might be.
Thank you. That was incredibly helpful.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. Next, Miss Lorraine.
Piggybacking on all that you just said, that was absolutely amazing.
Awesome.
the one piece that stumps me every time is
Mhm.
getting the traffic in order to have enough ears to hear what's being offered.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
like if we had the perfect message and the perfect website and the perfect offer and the perfect everything,
Mhm.
it's still, if you're talking to an empty room, you're still talking to an empty room. So any
Like, I hope I enjoyed this because that was awesome.
yeah, like yeah, I've had several of those experiences lately. So any suggestions on how that you develop that traffic flow?
Yes. So your easiest, fastest way, obviously through joint ventures, is, so let me back up the bus a bit. So problem number one, you have to do an internal test to see if that thing works. And if you don't have an internal body of people, then you have to create relationships with JV partners to the point that they are willing to fail with you. Right. And that's not impossible. Right. I have tons of people in JVology. It's like, oh yeah, absolutely. Come on over here. Like James, when he first did his thing, I'm like, dude, you have to know this guy. This guy is awesome. He's just super fantastic. We're going to be trying out a thing, and I'd love for you to come and try. So if you're at all interested in this, come and check this out. It's going to be super fly. And so people came and checked out James when he had no list, no nothing. It was just us promoting him, and it took traction. He discovered he hated doing that. He changed what he did, offered it to different people, and that was okay, right? But you can find people who are willing to create space for you to have those internal launch experiments. Because as Carrie and Zola were talking, right, they did their internal launches, and the internal launches had a whole lot of fails. But we can fail with our friends, and they're a little more forgiving than perfect strangers are, hopefully sometimes. And what that allows you to do, though, is to have those internal launches and to practice things and say, okay, what's my lingo? Is it working? If you aren't even having those, then in my experience, you almost have to go back to one-on-ones, but that's death by 1,000 cuts. So you're much better off, in my opinion, and I think Jay's too, is to build the relationships with centers of influence. So instead of going out and looking for that one person that you can do that one thing with, is to who has your ideal audience, and brainstorm beyond what you know right now. So if there was anybody on the planet that might have a list of high-end exclusive executives, who might it be? And we've named a couple, BMW, Rolex, they would be at. Okay, who else? Anybody I might know, anybody that I know might know somebody else. And no is not an answer when you're brainstorming. So this is a good one for all of you. When you're brainstorming, it is a happy zone set by a time zone. So from now for the next half hour, we are going to be in a brainstorming zone. The word no is not allowed in this zone. The word can't, shouldn't, wouldn't. Any negativity is not allowed in here. If I say, I think we should hire a herd of squirrels to do it, that's an awesome idea. That's fantastic. That's great. What does a herd of squirrels remind me of? And then you go from there. Once the time is over, now you can take all of those ideas and say, okay, the herd of squirrels probably won't work because we can't herd cats. How the hell are we going to herd squirrels? Okay, good point. We might be able to herd dogs though. Okay, well, do we know any dog people? Okay, well, I know these high-end dog groomer. Hey, high-end dog groomers actually know, exclusive people that like to spend a lot of money on their pets, and they're probably really crappy in relationships. That's actually a really good one. Okay, great. And I got all of that from 5 seconds of just coming up with shit in my head that made no sense, but it led to a path of, hey, that's actually not a bad idea. Right? Mm-hmm. So give yourself that time zone. I would obviously work with Barbara and brainstorm all the people all the people that you could have, all of the anythings. And even if all of those people say no, your question is always, hey, great, I appreciate your no. Do you know anybody who might do this? And by going through that exercise of finding out exactly what you're looking for, you're finding that group. Because really, if you only had one JV partner that had a room full of even 100 high-end executives that were working on something, right? But they knew that the relationships were part of the problem. So something like the EO group, something like
What's an EO group?
the executive organization. It used to be the young executive organization, but
okay.
they got old. So they changed their name. I thought it was hilarious. They actually started out of Calgary and now they're all over the place. But they are basically, it's $10,000 to get into the group, and they cover everything. So they go in and it's a mastermind. What are you working on as far as your business goes? And this week's issue is hiring. This week's issue is P&Ls. This week's is whatever. And they work on their business issues. And they know that part of that is, mindset and relationships. So every once in a while, they'll have a sponsor come in and speak for them. Or you can come in as a guest sponsor. So you don't have to qualify for I think they're like $1 million plus. When they were YEO, you had to be under 30 and blah, blah, blah. So people didn't qualify, but they'd pay to get their way in to those groups. Or you can have your local tennis club or your golf club or your whatevers, right? Golf clubs are notoriously have people that like to spend money on stupid shit and have shitty relationships.
Yeah, I used to know a lot of golf widows. So.
Well, there you go. So the golf widows may know the people in the inn that can get you into those speaking gigs, because they'll bring in speakers, they'll have conferences, they'll do whatevers.
All right, thank you. So what I'm hearing you say is just go in and brainstorm a whole bunch of things and see where we may be able to fit.
Brainstorm centers of influence. So think, if I could get, and what's your ideal? Like, what would blow you away? If you could get 10 clients all at once, if you could get 100 clients all at once, if you could get...
Well, if we could get 10 clients, even like, 5 clients at the same time would be like, whoa. Awesome.
Okay, so if you had 5 clients all at once, so you probably need a group of at least 25. I'm gonna guess you got about a 25% closing ratio.
Yep.
Right. So you need 25 people in that room. Who would have 25 people in high-end executives in a room that are willing and able to talk about their relationship status or more? So, okay, let's say half of them are married. So you want 50 people in the room. Who has access to 50 people of high-end executives that I could go and talk to and sign them up? And keep in mind that you need to have the ability to be able to say, and we have this thing and it's starting right now. We're only taking 5 people. Sign up now. As soon as I leave the building, this is over. And all y'all may think that sounds a little silly and sleazy and salesy-ish. People need help making decisions. They know if it's a yes or a no, but if they can weasel their way out of making a decision, they will, and they're only cheating themselves. They're not cheating you. It's not about you. It's not that you weren't a great presenter, that they were second guessing what you might be able to do for them. They're second guessing whether or not they want to spend that much money on themselves because they think they're going to fail at it again. And that's true for coaching. That's true for relationships. It's true for flooring. It's true for everything. If they don't make a decision right there, they're thinking, oh my God, I'm going to make the wrong decision and I need to take more time to think about this. And they inevitably will not like that decision. There's been a ton of tests done in Harvard and all sorts of places. When people have to make a decision, they stick to it. When they get to think about why they make those decisions, they more often will not make the decision, and they will regret the decision they made if it took them longer to make it. It's weird, but it makes sense, right?
We do such
Hello, Mary. How you doing?
Thank you.
You're most welcome. Anybody else? How you doing, Mary? We haven't heard from you, so we'd love to have you. I would love to have you say hello.
It's on mute.
That's
you
okay.
talking to this, Mary?
Yeah, I'm talking.
It's really fascinating. I hadn't thought about brainstorming these centers of influence. the same way. I'm taking way too much responsibility
Awesome.
and not doing well because of it, probably.
Excellent. It is a fun exercise. So, and it can be done with anything. Like you can pull rabbits out of the sky kind of thing with this. So if you decided, hey, I need a mentor and I want a mentor that's done this, that, and the other thing. And okay, let's start brainstorming what kind of people might be appropriate. And you start coming up with really stupid things like Robin Hood. Robin Hood would be awesome. And then you go to the millionaires, you know, that you've seen on TV. And then you go to, and then it starts to hone in like, hey, well, we know this one guy and that might actually be, and it's like, hey, that would actually make a great idea. And if he doesn't want to, then he might know somebody that does. And so it's just making sure that you are not using any negativity in that few minutes that you have. And then once that time is up, then you can start hashing them apart. And why not? So if you don't like the idea of the squirrels, that's okay, but why not? Because they don't do this. Okay, well, who might?
What I have been fascinated with is my own product. I have a much better time talking to women than men. Somehow men feel disempowered when you start talking about things that they think they have, but they really don't have. And they back away. So even when you talk in a positive sense, there's that rejection.
So is there a reason why you're marketing to men?
I'm marketing to all adults who have a household, and that's too big. So I'm looking at 50-year-old women who have been through being the sandwich generation and having the experiences of being responsible on both sides. So they know the importance of getting their information together. Men think if they have the legal things done and part of the financial, they're finished, but that's the smallest part of what they need. And they haven't been responsible for those other things.
or they have, and they just didn't think about it because they've been doing it since they were 4.
Or
so
they've been busy bringing all the money home so everybody can have a wonderful life. It's a great model. It really is.
Until it is.
But
Awesome. So
we don't know what the other guy knows. And if you don't know what you need to know, then you're not going to know it.
So are you looking at broadening your spectrum of who you're offering your product to, or what are you looking at changing right now?
I am trying to focus on a smaller niche so that I can tailor it all like you're talking about with the right language and everything. And when the discussion was talking about the real affluent and looking at those magazines and things, I've not done that. And I'm thinking maybe that those are the women who have the most to protect, and maybe they are an individual market, but I didn't know quite about the language. Now I've been directed. Thank you.
Most welcome. Because what you're doing reminds me of, I went to a gas station once and there was a beautiful little old lady. She was perfect. Like she was coiffed, she was dressed, and she was staring at the back end of her car and almost a little distraught. So I came over and asked her if I could help her. And she goes, oh, this is going to sound so stupid. And I said, I love stupid. Stupid makes more fun in my day than I can possibly tell you. How can you make my day? And she goes, I don't know where the gas tank is. I said, oh, that's okay. Because depending on the model of your car, it might be hidden. So do you want to take a look? So we went over and it was one of those weird ones where you have to go into the glove compartment to pop it open, and it looked like it was part of the car. And I'm like, yeah, I totally would have done the same thing. And she goes, honey, I've never had to do this. Like my husband always did it and he's not around anymore. So within a week of her husband dying, she has to fill up her stupid frickin' car and feels like a complete idiot because she doesn't know where the gas tank is. And it just brought me to my knees and brought me to tears. Like that is not the way to, nobody should ever have to go through that. So I think you have a lot of power, a lot of language on empowering themselves and to hitting the pain points of words like not demeaning, but and it's not degrading, it's just embarrassing. And it's like, go into that little lady's head and find her pain points, and you have all the marketing in the world that you need.
Yes, all of a sudden you could be driving his car and not know where. I wouldn't understand, except that happened to me one time. and I was out of gas, pulled in, and if somebody hadn't been able to show me, I would have been in a mess.
Right? My son at the ripe old age of 17 goes, there's a little triangle on the gas tank tells you that. I never knew that before.
They know how to do the iPhones too. But we can run typewriters.
Right? I type like a maniac. Awesome. Cool. You guys have been fabulous and wonderful. Anything else that I can help you with that happened to you in a car? Oh, rental cars. Yes. The worst. Totally. Awesome.
Rental cars can do the same thing.
Absolutely, they can.
I do want to pass along one thing. I heard a lecture of a famous person speaking to a whole high school staff and saying, now this was probably 8-9 years ago, say, you are failing the students because the people who are running mechanical instruction sheets have the highest need for a high reading level. You're not paying any attention to them. The other people can buy analysis and everything else, but nobody can analyze the instructions for doing a car.
Nice. Love that. Cool. So who haven't we heard from today? We haven't heard from Renelle or Diana. I feel like I'm playing Romper Room.
In Romper Room, I see Michael and June and
Right?
I have to
Beth
leave.
and
I have to
Amy.
leave. So goodbye,
Awesome.
everyone.
Bye, Bono. Have fun.
Thank you. Well,
I'm
it's
still in the
more-
early stages. What's happening is my traditional background has been in animals and nature, and the pivot, I went into tourism, and so now I'm niching down into a very specific demographic. I like hanging out with women around my age, anywhere from like 45 to 70. They tend to have been through all that turbulence that Elizabeth and Mary have been dealing with. They've been derailed by changes in the career or loss. Maybe their kids left, or they lost their husband, or they left their job and they lost their identity, all those things. And so what it looks like at this moment, because I've worked for big travel incentive groups, I've worked for the cruise ships where they hire me. I've worked with Pebble Beach where they hire me to entertain large groups. I'm looking at focusing down on a smaller group and giving them more custom experiences, but taking it online to offer virtual experience so that I hit a wider demographic in conjunction with the Convention Center and Visitors Bureau, because I have them as a collaborative partner.
Yay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then I was looking for like things that I could do that were really different. And somebody said to me, when somebody gives me a lead, I don't know what that door means. I go through that door. And so somebody said, somebody's looking for a naturalist. I don't really want a job, but I'm a naturalist, right? So I followed up. It turns out it's a yacht company that has a small yacht that takes like 6 people. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, that's perfect. And then I'm like, oh, that's all those golf, somebody said golf widows, right? I'm like Pebble Beach and Carmel. I'm like, oh, that would be something really different for them to do, right? So I'm really in the early stages. And what flies for me and what everyone talks about is when I go out in nature and I connect people with nature, so they connect with themselves, they connect with others better. It resets their whole nervous system, all these beautiful things, right, Zola?
Yep.
And so at this point, the first rollout is going to be a test on bringing people into a low offer to introduce them to the best things to do. I crash tested and failed an Alexa flash briefing called Things to Do Monterey. Good idea. Did it fly? No. Had the wrong partners, but I learned a lot. So what I want to do is offer some video experiences, because what happens when I post the videos is everyone talks about it and everybody stops what they're doing. And I did a thing with Elizabeth early on. Remember Elizabeth? And I asked her, because nobody can vocalize it, I asked her what she felt like when she like watched X, Y, or Z, and her face, she went into bliss brain, you know, she just went, huh. So that's what I want to offer as an intro, and then that as a lead in into a group conversation that is also, I'm going to charge for all of these. The first one will be a low ball, probably $47 or whatever. And then move them into a group thing where they can learn more, turn those sessions into webinars that I can sell and not have to show up for, and then offer a more a live virtual experience here.
Sorry,
So
my
that's my
cat
thinking
is
at this point.
behind my monitor and pulling my cables. I'm going, why am I shrinking?
It's always
Dumbass.
fun. Anyway, so that's the thought at this
So
moment.
$47 struck me as odd. Why $47?
It's under 50.
These
And it's
are women that are
I'm
golf
gonna,
widows?
I'm gonna work with the convention center and visitors bureau first and
Okay.
go broad.
Yep.
And
Okay, that works
test
there.
that.
But the golf widows, if you're speaking their
No.
language, they don't care. What you want to do is do something like going into high-end boutiques and offering them a commission or a trip and saying, hey, Marla, the owner of the facilities, is doing a luxury retreat, and would you like to join her? Martha gets a free ticket if you sell 6 seats out of her venue. Those type of thing. So going back to the centers of influence, there are women who could say, you should wear that. And poof, they've got a $10,000 dress. And say, and they won't buy that thing that's in their hand, no matter how much it's worth. Those are the people you want to bring in on these. If you can find them, get in with them, and they love you. And they're not so hard to get a hold of. It may not necessarily be a boutique. It might be the jewelry. It might be the psychologist. It might be something else. But think about who has the hairdressers, who has the eyes and ears of these women, if that's the group that you're going after, because their centers of influence will listen. They will listen to them. I would listen to my hairdresser no matter what she said.
It's probably the concierge desk, the leaders on the concierge.
That's normal.
Because there's tiers of wealth.
But do you want, there's that, but that's, I will go shopping at Nordstrom because concierge says, it's just around the corner and to the left. But that's not really what you're looking for. It's not what I hear you're looking for. If I'm going to spend a week in a yacht with 5 other women, I damn well better get along with those other women.
No, it's not. It's just a day. It's a block of time. It's not a full day. It's not a long.
But it's not on a yacht.
It's something. It is on a yacht, but it's like they come into Pebble Beach or they
go on and they get off. Okay. Okay.
They are bored because they've done, seriously, they have done, I have some pretty high-end clients and
everything.
They've done everything in the world.
Yep. Literally.
So they're always looking for something, and all over the world. They're always looking for something a little bit different.
Right. Okay. I get you now. I get you now.
So it's kind of not it's not in those super high tiers, and it's not in the tiers. I haven't found the sweet spot yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not.
I get you now. I was thinking they were going to spend a week together, and I'm going a week on a yacht with random people. With that level of person going in. And I don't care how big that yacht is.
No, it's going to be more curated. It's more like the women that are coming here, and they hit the age demographic because they come here. They're in a good financial bracket.
Yep.
The women, either they come solo and they're coming with friends, or they're coming on a business trip with their husband or a golf trip with their husband, and they don't really like what's going on
their agenda, so they're going to escape and go and do something else. Totally get that.
Yeah. So I'm not certain who those people are. Spa people, at the resorts, but it's probably going to be the regular visitors and some of the local women. I did a testing with the locals also, and the testing, they said nobody ever focuses on us. We would really like to have things to do.
Nice. So
was like-
back in the day when I used to be the the golf wife, I would rent a car and just drive down to Mexico because that's how I spent my time. But you're right. At that point, then it's the concierge to say, you rent a car, are you leaving? Are you looking for something entertaining to do? Or the event programmer that's organizing the conference for the brainstorming. Hey, we need to have something for the spouses so that they have something to do.
And that would be my normal thing, but they're not coming in right now. They
Right.
canceled all of 2022.
Again.
Yeah, we're still, we're the tourism here, it's really changed, which is why it was so hard hit. So on this pivot, I'm trying to figure out, I think the California locals that are coming in from San Francisco.
So work with me here for a second, because having
Okay.
worked with a ton of executive guys, they still get super frustrated that their wives don't get out of the house and don't go and do something. And it's worse that now that they're not getting out of the house and doing something, then their wives have zero reason to get out of the house and go do something. But
Okay.
it doesn't negate the fact that you can still put on something for them, even though they are still working virtually. So, so brainstorm with me for a half second here.
Yep.
If you were
Let's go.
to get a hold of, say, who would normally get together, have to brainstorm and do things. I'm still thinking it's going to be your engineers and your kind of your C-level executives that are going to have a retreat week. And they're going to be planning this retreat week. And all of the event planners and everything have gone online, right? So now they're trying to figure out, how do we have a Zoom retreat for executives? Because they still got to get out and they still got to brainstorm, especially now. Because now if you're stuck in your office trying to figure out how to do this stuff, like you've got to at least intellectually get out of your Zoom space so that you can think, how the hell are we going to bring our business into a hybrid Zoom world from now on, and how quickly do we need to pivot in or out of that depending on regulations and how they change that. So I think you're still going to have that. So I'm still thinking it's going to be your HR personnel or your event planners or your whatever, who are going to say, hey, we're having this retreat and we really want you to have time to yourself. So what we've done is we've planned this event for spouses. And then that way, even if it's a virtual retreat that you're taking the spouses on, they're in their own space and they're not going, okay, are you done yet? Are you done yet? Are you done yet? When are we going to be able to go for a walk? Right? Because that's going to drive all the guys nuts while they're trying to brainstorm and do their thing. Very stereotypical guys, girls, ignore me if it doesn't fit for the circumstances that you're working with. But does that make sense? That they still got to do something. Mary, what do you got?
I have a suggestion. You're in California, right?
Correct. I'm right by Pebble Beach, Big Sur, Carmel by the Sea, Santa Cruz.
Yes, I am thinking about all of the people who are traveling for all of the tournaments, for all of the sports. My daughter has huge time. She travels with all the cross mothers, that when there's a big tournament, there could be an easy way to people to sign up to have something else to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's running rampant, and they have the money to do it.
Right.
Or their kids wouldn't be traveling all over. The other thing that I was thinking is private schools. If you could do that, and there could be a semi fundraiser for the private school, and it would be a trip that would be going on, that might be another source of being able to raise funds.
Yeah, private school.
You've got a lot of them out there.
Yes, we do. Stevenson School's a big one.
Nice. Hey.
And out of that, because the group I'm thinking of serving are the older. I've already done the family stuff, and I don't want to do the family. I want to do but I hadn't thought about that. That's a good idea.
They are captive audiences, and if you can get an incentive for them and somehow work with that model, you may find you have some really interesting combinations of people.
Yes. It's like getting into that narrow front, and like focus down, but yeah, sometimes you lose that.
Having been both with conferences with husbands and things like that, I find that you appeal to me, what you're doing. I would like to have had some of those things.
Right?
My previous business, I was a special event planner for, I did the fun things when you're at the conference. My specialty was special event logistics for fun, big 10,000 plus person events. And I'll tell you this, number one, if you can put a package in front of a meeting planner so that they don't have to think about it and they can just buy it from you, they will love you. Number two, I never marketed. I never had to do any marketing. I worked with JVs, but the people who recommended me the most, I worked with 5-star hotels with the directors of catering, because they hear from the meeting planner what they need. And they just used to say, if they said, just call Diana, she'll help you. You don't sell, you just say, how can I help you? What's the price? Here's the contract, done. So if you can put some really cool things together, very cool, like I'm talking about a nature experience, and they come into a clearing and all of a sudden you have this beautiful tent with a team of catering waiters in white gloves standing there. So they've had the nature, but they've also get this 5-star experience as well.
They also get the birds.
Yeah, and my birds. That was that special piece of the end.
Perfect timing.
So they want to have the nature experience, but they want to have the luxury experience as well, right? And that takes your package from, making this up, $200 a person to $350 a person, right? So all of a sudden, I love the movie Chocolat. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it.
I love it too, yeah.
What I love about it is when you go into the shop, it is such an experience that it's so custom, and this chocolate is exactly right for you, and please take it and savor it. And you're just like engrossed in the experience. That's what you're selling them. And that's what you can put a different color bow on.
Right. And that's what makes, I've tested that not so high, because I delivered to the event planners and the what do you call them? Incentive travel groups and the event planners that are servicing the corporate groups that are coming here.
They're very cynical. They are a cynical, hard-ass group. Go through the directors of caterings, because they've vetted the hotels. And if the director of catering of the Four Seasons Hotel says, call Diana, you're in.
Oh, call Diana.
Done. Okay. Going in with a sales package, trying to do it one event planner at a time, your head will explode.
Yeah, no, I was referred in. That's how I got into the whole segment. I mean, I'm just going with that.
And Diana, it reminds me, what Barbara just said reminds me of, I saw a show one time of a wedding place. It was, I think it was Napa Valley. So they have a house, they have the caterers. There's a little honeymoon retreat for the groom and the bride. And there's little houses where the wedding party can stay. So there's one for the mom and dad suite and the groomsmen and the bridesmaids. So they had like 10 little cabin kind of things on their site. But they created these experiences for the wedding party beforehand, because it wasn't like, hey, come get drunk, because they didn't want, obviously,
right,
trash their places. So they created experiences so that people could experience things. And it was things like, this is the wine that grows here, this is the wine that grows on the other side of the valley because of the sun. And so it became this educational wine experience, and I could totally see that working in with almost any high-end wedding planner, where it's, especially where it's a destination where somebody's staying for an extended period of time, they want something entertaining to do. And it could be just for the mother of the bride, the mother of the groom, or mom and dad, or whatever you wanted to kind of set that up as. And it also reminded me of another experience where we took a friend of ours out into nature, and I happened to be fascinated with mushrooms. And mushrooms. I thought I said marshmallows. I like marshmallows too, but mushrooms in particular. So I was going around going, oh my God, look at this. Oh my God, look at that. And what I didn't realize was that my friend actually had kind of a phobia or anxiety around mushrooms. She hated them, like not a little bit, but hated them. And then her daughter comes and is with us, and she's looking at her mom like, what the hell are you doing? And her mom's in there taking photographs because she was an artist and a photographer, taking pictures of mushrooms. And the daughter's losing her mind, like, you're actually looking at a mushroom. You're actually photographing a mushroom. And I was like, yeah, because as soon as you become fascinated with the thing, then they become fascinated with the thing, which brings me full circle over to Barbara's thing, is if you have this kind of walk of nature and you get to see the different kind of fungi growing on, but then you get to have a flatbread with different kind of natural mushrooms and all that kind of thing with the champagne and the whole glitz, it becomes part of their repertoire, and then they'll talk about that forever.
Yeah, absolutely. And people at that level of, you know, they could have anything in the world. They could buy anything in the world. What they really want is new experiences. So they can go to the cocktail party and talk about the cool thing that they just did.
But not the weird thing.
Not
gotta be cool.
It's got to be cool. It's got to be cool and luxurious. And I've never done this before. And oh my God, you got to call Diane. She's awesome. And then once you find that little hole in, they become your sales force. Because some of their friends want the cool experience too, but it's not the same one because that was custom. You're going to make them a different custom one.
Yeah, and I've tested with women here, and because I am interpretive, so I connect with nature and I help people connect that way so they get their own experience and message from whatever we're doing. And that I went out with some guides that were not doing their job. They were subcontracted to me with these high-end brokers from New York. And some of them were off doing their thing on their phones, but the ones that I took into the forest and said, I want you to just be quiet for a minute, 60 seconds. And it was this thing where none of them had been in the forest and been off their phones or disconnected. And it just was like so different from anything that they had ever thought of doing. The smells, the sounds, that whole thing. It actually was something really simple for me, but for them, it was just shocking. And it really made that pop into incense. But it's also teaching people to be quiet because they're not used to being quiet. And yeah, it's been really fun testing. But yeah, thank you so much, because I hadn't thought about that. I think the pairing and taking it might be partnering with the food experience people to deliver that as well.
For sure. I mean, that's part of the experience, is the gourmet luxury of that, right? And maybe you take them and you pair with a spa, so they have your experience, and they have food, then they have a spa, or what have you. It's the package, right? And if you shove that in front of a meeting planner and you say, we're taking the spouse away for the whole day, and here it is, you know, per person, and they'll go, great, where's the contract? Let me sign it. Done. The end.
Okay.
Diana, have you tried bachelorette parties? They go, you know, for a weekend to Las Vegas and everything, and that's not any fun at all. But if you're working with the wedding planners, as other people were suggesting, it might be something that could be planted too. Much more for girls than boys, the bachelor parties.
I don't want that demographic. I
Okay.
don't want the
She wants the mother
drinking,
or the grandmother of the
I don't want
bride.
the liabilities and the craziness that happens with those groups.
Such a
Be
smart
clear
woman.
on that one.
Yeah. The grandmother of the bride.
The grandma, the mother of the bride. Yeah, the ones they've been there, done that. And you guys go off and do your thing, and let's have a different experience. And yeah, a little more sedate and a little more they have
Open
the money
to.
and they have the time, and they're overlooked. And that's, I think, part of the thing that I hit with some of the testing I've done. But yeah, I guess I have more exploring to do. And thank you so much for your doing this for me, because sometimes my brain doesn't, that's why I love collaborative things, is because my brain works a certain way and I'm wicked smart and have a lot of skill sets, but I'm always like so excited when people have the different ideas and perspectives. It's just amazing. So thank you very much.
Nice. You're most welcome. I'm glad it was helpful. Hopefully little seeds start sprouting that you didn't even know were in there.
Yeah.
Got these ideas all over the place. Good. So this is good for you guys, gals, ladies. Awesome. So excellent. Have a fabulous week and a month. And we look forward to hearing all your ideas. If you can do me a huge favor, just for shits and giggles, is actually take note of kind of the ideas that you have here and what you're going to implement over the next month, so that when you do the next Global Lounge or anything, that you can go, hey, remember when we talked about that? I did this and this is what came of it. That would be stellar. Cool. Awesome. Hey, go have fun.
All right. Ciao.
Bye.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Ciao. Oh, my lovelies.